One of the neat things about Micro Four Thirds cameras is their ability to utilise many of the beautiful lenses made in the last century. The short lens flange to sensor distance means that all that's needed is a spacer, with a Leica, Nikon, Canon or whatever mount on one end and Micro Four Thirds on the other. It also means that third-party makers of full-frame APS-C and Cine lenses can provide a version of a Micro Four Thirds without too much trouble. There'll often be a rejig of classic manual designs, and therefore manual-only operation. But for many video makers that doesn't matter since they work manually anyway. And for Micro Four Thirds users, auto exposure is always available in aperture priority mode. Plus, unlike a DSLR's optical finder, if you stop the lens down, the image doesn't get darker, since the electronic finder simply amplifies the brightness. Manual focus is more of a problem. You can become skilled at it, you used to have to, but you'll never match modern autofocus for precision or speed. That's the major snag and reason lenses such as these Kowas will never be major players in Micro Four Thirds. What we have here are three lenses from Kowa: the Prominar 8.5mm f2.8 ultra-wide, 12mm f1.8 wide and 25mm f1.8 standard lens. The spec of the 25mm lens is fairly standard, but both the wides are quite fast for their focal length. The 8.5mm is a straight wide angle, not fisheye. All the lenses are made in Japan from aluminium alloy and feel like they've been machined out of a solid block. If you like the feel of 60s and 70s Nikon lenses, and is there anyone who doesn't, you will love these. They're all manual operation, no electrical contacts at all, and focusing is uniformly smooth, silky and fairly heavily weighted. For video makers, the focus weight makes for smooth on-the-go focusing. For stills, it just feels luxurious. All come with effective and tough lens hoods. What is unusual about these lenses is that they convert from a click aperture ring for stills to a silent and continuous one for movie. A button on the side and a twist brings the desired mechanism into play. The video ring is marked with T-stops, f3 instead of f2.8 for the 8.5mm for example, which reflects the actual light reaching the sensor rather than a calculation of the front element and focal length. It is important to movie makers, but they have to mix and match sequences, so the actual light transmission is more important than the theoretical speed. f3 is f3 on any T-stop lens. f2.8 on a 4-element standard lens can be very different from f2.8 on a 15-element ultra-wide. One final thing, you can use filters on all three lenses, but they screw into the hood, not the lens. The 8.5mm uses a huge 86mm by the way, and that won't be cheap. These are not light or small lenses, far bigger and heavier than their modern counterparts. So, how do they perform? The answer is very well. Kowa has been making lenses for around 60 years and they know their business. Here are some quick comparisons all at full aperture. The 25mm and 8.5 are the stars, with the 8.5 being soft at the corners but nothing that shows on normal size viewing, and the 25mm being good and sharp all across the frame except at the extreme corners. I'm more than happy to use both of these lenses wide open, and by f4 to 5.6 their performance is as good as almost any lens around. The 12mm I'm less impressed with. You buy a fast wide angle to use wide open, and this one is a bit too soft at the edges for my taste. Again, it comes in okay stop down, but this isn't a cheap lens and I expected more. There's some purple fringing with all of them as expected with these types of designs, but even at its worst it is easily corrected. Distortion is impressively low, the more so when you consider that having no data connection to the camera, no correction can be applied in camera. It has to be designed out, a sign of sound lens design. Lastly, something I don't often remark on, but which is a feature of these lenses: the quality of the outer focus areas. It's very attractive with all of them. Maybe the iris ring is more even than most, I'm no technician. It's most obvious with the 25mm, but though no one buys a wide-angle lens for shallow depth of field, it's still good for what there is to be drawn attractively. Now we get to the real snag with these lenses. It's not the manual focus, it's the price. The 8.5 sells for £800 or $782, a lot more than Panasonic's 7-14mm zoom, and approaching the price of Olympus's Pro 7-14 f2.8. All the Kowas are similarly high priced, with Panasonic's very highly rated 25mm f1.4 coming in at £150 less than Kowa's 25mm. And Voigtlander's much faster f0.95 manual lens at just £50 more. Olympus's 12mm f2 offering undercuts the Kowa 12 by more than £100. Unless you desperately want the T-stop facility, the only one of this trio that makes sense to buy is the 8.5mm f2.8. But the native Micro Four Thirds 7 to 14mm zooms offer a wider angle, greater versatility, and with full automation. Another option would be to save £100 with the Olympus 8mm f1.8 fisheye and defish it. I'm always glad to see more third-party lenses added to the Micro Four Thirds system, and these Kowas are a well-built addition. The trouble is, practically every other lens maker, Olympus, Panasonic, Voigtlander and the rest, offer more for the money or similar for less. At half the price, these Kowas might be worth considering, but at the prices asked, it pains me to say that I can't see why anybody would buy them. Thanks for watching.